If you yell at a federal officer or record them on your phone, does that now count as a crime? The moment this question echoed inside the hearing room, everything stopped and the room went silent. Even Republican senators paused as they were forced to confront what happened to Alex Pretty. This was not the kind of action anyone expects from people entrusted with power and responsibility in the government. During today's hearing, senators delivered a direct and serious challenge to the current administration. They warned that if ICE continues operating this way on American streets, the public will respond, and that response will come quickly at the next midterm election. Lawmakers also laid out how years of policy decisions have created fear in the minds of ordinary Americans. What we are seeing on U.S. streets today is not just law enforcement, it is a breakdown of public trust. Now let's watch the video that forced Congress to stop and think.
Is filming of ICE or Border Patrol either an assault or a crime in any way, Mr. Scott?
No, sir.
Mr. Lyons?
No, sir.
Let's roll. Go ahead.
Just a question for you, Commissioner Scott. So we see Alex Pretty here. I think it went for a little further. But he is just holding a phone here. Is that correct? Is that what you're seeing like the rest of us?
Mr.
He's
Scott?
not on the screen at the moment, but that is what I've seen in that video up to that point.
So, okay, good. Just want to be clear. He's only holding a phone.
Okay, let's roll it a little bit farther forward. All right. And keep going, and keep going past this. All right, now stop. So what we've seen is the two women, we don't know what they were saying. I don't think that's audible on anything. They were probably bugging, bothering, whatever, yelling, protesting at the officers, but I don't think they touched them in any way. Do you think that, or is it appropriate, or is it an appropriate use of force to shove the woman to the ground here? Mr. Scott?
I can't answer that because this video does not show everything that led up to it, any encounters before, that investigation's ongoing. I think we will get that information, but we don't have it from this video.
So let's say hypothetically, two women were yelling at one of your officers. Is it okay to violently shove them to the ground?
No, sir.
Mr. Lyons?
No, sir.
I could just put that up. So I have a question. We see the shove here. I think we're going to see her go to the ground in the image going forward. We'll want you to verify that. I think you saw that video. You know that she gets pressed to the ground, Mr. Scott, there. So I have before me here, this is the policy for Homeland Security, where de-escalation tactics should be employed to minimize the likelihood of the use of additional force. In fact, agents shall employ de-escalation tactics and techniques. Would you consider pushing a woman down to the ground a de-escalation tactic?
It can be depending on the circumstances. I don't know what happened before this. If the officer thinks that doing that is going to prevent any kind of a physical encounter, if there's a weapon or anything else, I'm not saying there is. I'm just saying in certain cases, using hand-to-hand is a de-escalation.
So this woman, who we all can look at our eyes, I mean, this is the thing that's so frustrating for the American people, and the 90% of people who have looked at these videos, this woman's clearly trying to have her back turned, trying to get away, and he shoves her pretty violently to the ground. Just looking at that, would you think that that's not de-escalation, or are you just saying you can't answer that?
No, I'm not justifying that action. I'm saying I don't have enough information in front of me to say it is or is not, because I don't know what happened before this video.
I think what's important about the encounter isn't even the specifics of the investigation. It's about what are your officers trained to do. So your officers are watching it. Some of them are here in the audience. Hopefully some are watching at home. And they need to know. They need a explicit. So there were people who said, and they were part of the government, I don't think they were interviewed, but part of DHS and part of the administration said that, yes, the officers were using de-escalation tactics. Nobody believes that, all right?
No one.
I'm just going to stipulate that. I don't even need your opinion on that. No one in America believes shoving that woman's head in the face in the snow was de-escalation. But your officers need to know they had a verbal encounter with them. She did not place her hands on the officers. She wasn't trying to get their weapon. It's not great. I mean, I don't like to see these encounters either. But is it appropriate for the officers to respond to a verbal barrage of words or whatever, is it proper to physically throw a woman down or to throw anyone down?
If the only action is verbal, no.
Okay, that's what I want to hear.
Yes.
Correct, sir. Same answer.
All right. Do you have another point on this before we move on? Let's move on a little further. Okay, and so here at this point, she's on the ground, and this to me looks not like an offensive maneuver. It looks like a defensive maneuver, holding his phone, holding his hand up to be sprayed. I think the problem what we have on so many of these images, and not just this one, all of the images that we see is really people being held and forcefully from inches away, sprayed in the eyes with this stuff. And I know it depends on the circumstances, but there's got to be a better policy. You guys have to figure it out. I mean, there was a stark contrast when we see the array of ICE agents and Border Patrol agents and the Minneapolis State Police. And it is not an easy job. I have two policemen, retired policemen that work for me. Being a policeman is not an easy job. Being an ICE agent is not an easy job. Being a Border Patrol. But the Minneapolis policemen were standing there stoically with their arms crossed, And you could say, well, they weren't getting all the crap thrown at them. That's true. But they also weren't launching tear gas back at, and grenade launchers of pepper spray. So what is the policy, first, Mr. Scott, for how we use pepper spray, and not we, how the agent's supposed to use pepper spray and when?
In this case, they should be using it when there's active resistance or when they're trying to de-escalate to prevent using some other type of a weapon or a tool.
Right. I guess why don't we move forward go ahead.
So I just want to be clear, because we all want to know that we're all seeing the same thing, because this is the question. This is what the questions that the American people have, because they've been hearing a lot from the administration, especially early on, and their eyes tell them something completely different. So what we just saw here is that we saw an agent pepper spray Mr. Petty at a close range. Is that correct? Everybody saw that, Mr.
Correct.
Lawrence, Mr. Scott? It was at a close range. He still just had a phone in his hand, and he puts his hand up to basically protect his face from being sprayed. Is that what you see? Is there something we're missing here?
I would have to watch the video again for that last statement.
Can we do that? Just look at it real quick?
Yeah, we can go back and show the last 20 seconds again. Go back 20 seconds.
Right here. There. A little bit more.
And then go forward a little
Keep
more.
going a little bit more. Right there. So what we saw is that the agent grabbed him, grabbed him, pulled away with a spray, and he's putting up his hand like, oh my God, you're going to spray me in the face.
Right. And see, the thing is that we've got more than one problem here. I think that, I understand you not wanting to make conclusions yet, but nobody believes you're going to, because you made conclusions immediately, not you, but people within the government made conclusions immediately that he was a terrorist and an assassin, that people aren't believing that it's going to be an honest investigation. It's also been quite a while. And I'm one who, I am very pro-law enforcement. I don't think, as terrible as this is, it's something that's a crime. I think it's terrible police work. But there has to ultimately be repercussions. I think he is retreating at every moment. He's trying to get away, and he's being sprayed in the face. I don't think that's de-escalatory. That's an escalatory thing. So while pepper gas, you might have a theory of how it might be a de-escalation, in this case, without a question, it is. But I can tell you, if we come back with a result, and people say we looked at it, nobody's to blame for anything, and there are no changes, I think it destroys the trust in ICE. You want trust in ICE and Border Patrol agents. We've got to restore that. And it doesn't mean that we have to do something inappropriate to these agents, but some of the stuff's inexcusable. I mean, and it's going to take, it's going to take conclusions. It's going to come forward. But right now, I don't know that the American public, believes that there can be an honest assessment.
Now, let's look at this calmly and based on the record and according to news reports. This is not an attempt to dramatize a single hearing. This is a breakdown of a system that has faced sustained questions over time. During the recent hearing, a direct and uncomfortable question was raised. If a citizen yells at a federal officer or records them on a phone, does that now count as a crime? According to news reports, that question changed the tone inside the hearing room and shifted the discussion toward a much broader issue. According to reporting by Reuters and the Associated Press, U.S. law and court precedents have repeatedly made clear that recording law enforcement in public spaces, so long as there is no interference or physical threat, is a constitutionally protected activity. Verbal protest, shouting, or expressing disagreement alone does not constitute assault or a criminal act. That legal reality has been consistently reflected in past reporting and legal analysis. According to the hearing record and subsequent news coverage, witnesses were directly asked whether yelling at ICE or Border Patrol officers could be considered domestic assault. The answer was clear: no. They were also asked whether filming ICE or Border Patrol officers constitutes a crime in any way. Again, the answer was no. This was not a new interpretation, but a restatement of existing law and policy. According to DHS use of force policy documents cited in multiple news reports, society grants law enforcement agencies the authority to use force, including lethal force, but that authority is not unconditional. It comes with serious limitations. The policy framework emphasizes that force must be used rarely as a last resort and in proportion to the threat faced. According to CBS News and NBC News reporting, de-escalation is described as a central principle within these policies. De-escalation refers to actions taken to reduce tension, slow encounters, and avoid the need for additional force. It is not a theoretical concept, but a stated expectation within training and operational guidelines. During the hearing, lawmakers discussed a video that had been authenticated and entered into the record. According to the public hearing transcript and media summaries, members repeatedly stated that they were not reaching criminal conclusions based on the footage alone. They acknowledged that a single video may not show everything that occurred. At the same time, they emphasized that what appears in the video raises legitimate public concern. According to reporting by the New York Times and the Associated Press, the individual shown in the video is seen holding a phone. No weapon is visibly present. There is no clear depiction of the individual striking an officer. Moments described during the hearing include apparent attempts to retreat. These observations were stated on the record without contradiction, while witnesses reiterated that a full investigation was still ongoing. This is where the issue of public trust becomes central. According to Reuters analysis, past incidents involving law enforcement have shown a recurring pattern. When what the public sees in widely circulated footage differs from official explanations or early statements, trust erodes. That concern was explicitly raised during the hearing. Questions surrounding pepper spray and other so-called less lethal tools were raised within that same framework. According to DHS guidelines referenced in news reports, pepper spray may be used during active resistance or to prevent escalation toward more dangerous force. However, according to multiple media investigations of past incidents, close-range deployment against individuals who appear to be retreating is frequently perceived by the public as escalatory rather than calming. Lawmakers also raised concerns about early public characterizations following incidents. According to Politico and Washington Post reporting, when conclusions appear to be formed before investigations are complete, public confidence in the investigative process weakens, regardless of whether those investigations are later conducted properly. Transparency was therefore a central theme. According to the hearing record and subsequent coverage, officials stated that body camera footage and additional evidence would be released when legally appropriate. The record reflects that multiple agencies are involved in the investigation, including the FBI and internal oversight offices. Still, concerns about delays were openly expressed. According to Associated Press and CBS News reporting, these concerns extend beyond a single case. When investigations take extended periods and policy changes are not clearly communicated, public frustration grows. References to Minneapolis and other locations during the hearing were made within this broader context, not as isolated examples. The record also shows that lawmakers were careful to draw a distinction between accountability and opposition to law enforcement itself. According to hearing summaries published by major outlets, members emphasized that their goal was not to defund agencies or undermine officers, but to ensure that training, policy, and real-world conduct align. According to prior reporting by Reuters and the New York Times, law enforcement is widely acknowledged as difficult and demanding work. That reality was not disputed. However, difficulty alone does not justify actions that fall outside established policy. Professionalism, as described in reporting and policy documents, requires adherence to rules even under stress. The political implications were also addressed. According to historical election analyses reported by mainstream U.S. news organizations, prolonged concerns over law enforcement practices and public trust have previously influenced voter behavior. This was presented not as a threat, but as an observed pattern. The purpose of this breakdown is not to assign guilt to any individual or agency. According to the hearing itself, the purpose is clarity. Clear rules, clear expectations, and clear alignment between what policy states and what the public sees. If yelling or filming is not a crime, as law and reporting indicate, then enforcement practices must reflect that reality. In closing, according to multiple news analyses, this is not a question of law enforcement versus the public. It is a question of trust within the law itself. Authority carries responsibility, and trust is restored only through transparency, consistency, and conduct that aligns with established rules. If you found this video useful, support the channel by subscribing. For more record-based and news-driven reporting, like the video and share your thoughts in the comments.